You're the head of neuroscience department. You've invented a new pill which manipulates thought patterns to combat depression, anger, and anxiety. It also takes away the ability to feel overexcited and puts you in a permanent content state. Do you release the pill to the public or not?
Or do you keep it strictly to yourself, like I would do?
So, we are going to start with Halion Aeon, who is in the hot seat, and we will hear what he has to say. Halion, do you release this poll to the public or not? Your answer is up to
You're going to be an
interpretation.
ally. Think it all yourself.
Yeah, I would probably go with Ali in this case. I think, I mean, it's all very well having things that suppress problems, but you've got to be really careful.
I mean,
But it's
that
things
in a
like
greedy
Valium and
sense.
that. I mean, yeah, you know, you give people Valium to suppress them, and well, it takes away the life, really, doesn't it? Okay, yes, obviously we need to have things to control bad things like epilepsy and that, and maybe then you'll have cannabinoids and various things like that, which are very much in the news at the moment. But I'm sure there must be other options that don't take away the ability to feel overexcited, and a permanently content state, I suspect.
Right.
Yeah, probably no on this one, but yeah.
Probably no.
If I
All
had
right.
to choose at the moment, probably no.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Halion. Now let's go to...
Question, Halion. Alternative. Would you think or consider an alternative? Something else? Yes, no,
We got to
maybe.
give him the megaphone again.
Oh dear, he's been muted. Let me try that again. Wait 1 second. Because I see he's using his hands. I don't understand sign language just yet.
I'll give everybody the allow
After a
hand
few
raise.
more months on Altspace, I'll become accustomed to it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there are alternatives. You see, I mean, if you come up with a medicine, it's fair enough that you're trying to maybe treat one problematic thing, but if you do that at the expense of treat or suppressing something that is normally a good thing in life, the ability to be a bit overexcited and not permanently content, then you're sort of neutralizing the effect. So I think you'd have, and I know there are alternatives these days. I mean, there are, you know, the Valiums of this world and whatever you call them in the States and other countries, I don't know. And there are also things like cannabinoids and that which help to, if you've got, you know, certain conditions, and they seem to be quite good. You know, and they're not necessarily, even though they probably do make you feel a bit laid back, I should imagine. They're probably, you know, not going to completely suppress you. So I think it's just a balance, and there's no rights and wrongs of these things. But I mean, they'd have to go through so many. If you come up with a new drug, you must know this, particularly in the States, they have to go through so many, you know, was it drug related, you know, agency,
FDA.
tests and things like that. So it probably wouldn't happen anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there will be people who will try to come up with these things. But we'll see.
All right. Awesome. Thank you, Helium.
Yeah.
Stella
Thank you.
Vanilla.
Hi, that's gonna be a no for me, dog. I took antidepressants for many years, and it made me lose my ability to feel anything pretty much. I needed to cry sometimes, I couldn't. I wanted to be happy, I couldn't. I mean, just about every emotion. I mean, it just totally put a damper on all emotions, and that is not a way to live. It ended up making me even more depressed than I already was. Of course, this was after decades of taking them. And plus, I don't want to live in a Stepford Wives society where everybody has a smile on their face, and it's just I don't know. It wouldn't. I don't think it would seem real, you know. Plus, you know, and you know, I like a little bit of drama in my life.
All right. Thank you for your story as well, Stella. Paul Laugh.
I loved your input there. Thanks, Stella. Awesome. Paul, hey, how are you? Megaphone is yours. Welcome
All right.
back.
Yes. Can you hear?
Nice to
You can
see
hear
you.
me?
Yes.
Yes, loud and clear.
Yeah. First of all, my credentials in this area. I worked with the Institute of Psychiatry in London in the year 2000 on cognitive behavior therapy on computer, the treatment of anxiety and depression. I'm very familiar with cognitive behavior therapy. And also from the pharmaceutical aspect, there are such pills already exist, as Stella said. They're called antidepressants, such as Seroxat, and they do exactly that. The problem is the incidence of suicide with clinical depression is extremely high. And if you're going to use an antidepressant, it should only be used in the short term, not in the long term. If it doesn't work within 3 or 4 months, either try another one or try it in combination. It should be tried in combination with psychotherapy anyway. But as I say, the incidence of suicide is extremely high with clinical depression. And that's what you're dealing with. You're not dealing with sadness. You're dealing with a mental illness, anger and anxiety. Well, we all should feel anxious under certain circumstances. You've got a lion chasing you. You should feel anxious. And if you don't, there's a problem. And anger, yes, you should feel appropriate anger. So, yes, these things exist. These things exist. But certainly psychotherapy plus antidepressants, but antidepressants should only be used in the short term.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. And also, it's instinctual. The happiness, anger, sadness has helped us survive throughout the millennia. Thank you. Yee70. Hello and welcome.
Hi.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
All right, awesome. How are you guys today?
Going
Good?
good. Yeah, welcome.
Good, thanks. And
Good,
you?
good, good. I'm doing good myself as well. Thank you.
Awesome. Could we offer you a
So-
depression pill? I'm just kidding.
No, not
I'm just
today. Yeah. I think I'm gonna say very similar things to like every single person said here. I will not release it, and I agree with everything they say. I think it's a natural thing to feel feelings, and I guess in the past years ago, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, I did had depression, and it was it it really was awful, and I think everyone who had depression can relate with it. And I don't know. I think some people, as Paul said, I think pills. Some people may need it, but I do agree with that. It need to be short, because I think it all some things play in the part of your mind that you are able to, have. I don't know if the right word will be a power of will, but you have to try your best to like help yourself as well mentally.
Yeah.
But something, how Paul said on getting those pills is like a support. It brings you up a little bit. And I think some people need that. Even some other people might need support physically. It's like, hey, you can do it, or it's a hug or something like that. And that to me is similar to pills, but it has to be short term. At the end of the day, you have to like do it yourself and have to boost yourself up mentally and be like, yo, I have to figure it out. Like I have to find it. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's a start, and it's something that, I mean, just to make it simple, no, I wouldn't release it. I had my own experiences, and yeah, that's
Cool. Thanks.
it.
Thanks so much. Thanks for your experience as well. St. Justin, I know you popped in, but I think you can read through the dilemma. I'm going to read it again because we are halfway, and I normally do that. You're the head of a neuroscience department. You've invented a new pill which manipulates thought patterns to combat depression, anger, and anxiety. It also takes away the ability to feel overexcited and puts you in a permanent content state. Do you release the pill to the public or not? St. Justin,
Whoa.
hello.
That's quite the question. Anger and aggression. It's the ability to feel. I would have to say no.
All right. No.
Yeah, simple as that. No. Why?
Short and sweet.
Cool.
Awesome.
The majority are saying no, actually. So we're not, everyone's on pretty much the same wavelength. If you want to
Basically,
say,
everybody said no.
sorry, Ali.
Basically, everybody has said no
Yes.
up until now.
Yeah, up until now. Let's go to a Z. Maybe the right side of the couch have different ways of thinking.
Azi, welcome back. Hi.
Oh, yes. Hello. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Well, it's kind of surprising that everybody's saying no, because I was going to say the same stuff. Like, I'm pretty sure that Paul knows a lot about it, because this is like an open market. Actually, these drugs exist already, and there's no point, just stalling it, because I'm a head of neuroscience department. I'm not just an inventor or like a home kitchen chemist. It's something that it doesn't depend only on me. I'm a head, anyway. So I would release it anyway, because this is a drug and it should be officially trialed and officially, regulated. It's not just a pill from, Brave New World where everybody takes Soma and everybody's happy, like drugs or anything. So I think if it deals with, again, coming back to those things, yeah, Paul's trying to add something. If you're dealing with depression, anger, and anxiety, all our feelings and emotions, they come from somewhere. And I think we should, distinguish where they come from and cure the root of the problem, not cut the branches off. So I think it could be as an assistant pill, and like doctors would prescribe certain, courses and combine it with psychotherapy. So I can't even add more than Paul said. So yeah, they already exist. It's just like, yeah, antidepressants and all other things. Even the drug, like something like sedative, the drugs that they have sedative effects, they're pretty much like that. They take away your negative emotions, but they kind of make you feel, kind of neutral.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Awesome.
So I would release them because, yeah, it's my job.
All right. Thanks, Azzy. Let's go to Rich456.
Rich456, hi.
Yeah, can you?
We could.
We just heard can you.
Yeah, we just need to give you the megaphone
Try
again.
again. Let me try one more time.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Oh, all right. Good. We're in business. So, yeah, I think the person just before me hit it on the nail, hit the nail on the head, because for one thing, these things, the premise of the question is a little bit misleading, because none of these things, as has already been mentioned, happens in a vacuum. One person does not invent new drugs. Like many, science now is not like the Thomas Edison model, where one person does it and comes up with a big aha, and it's always done in teams, and it's always done in the scientific method with many tests and many throughout the whole, in communication with the whole world. So it really kind of takes a village. So even the very premise that he would have this decision that he could make is a little bit misleading, because he would be in collaboration with a whole society of other scientists, not to mention the regulators would then get their hands on it and do many, many tests. And even further downstream, just to get your hands on a pill like this that has such power requires a prescription from a qualified psychologist who would determine whether it was needed. So I would say yes, because it's just another tool. And as has been mentioned before, there are already many drugs. This sort of is just a scenario. It's a scenario that happens all the time with drugs, and just have on a case by case basis. The psychologist just has to determine what's best for an individual patient. If they've exhausted talk therapy and the problem still exists, and it also has to do with dosage. Very over time, that is under the careful, watchful eye of the psychotherapist. So I say yes, because society has correctly created all these many guardrails in the scientific system to make sure that drugs are being used the way they're supposed to be used. And this sort of sci-fi scenario, the way the question presents, doesn't really exist in the real world.
Mm. All right. Thanks so much, Rich. Let's go to Rog. Rog, hello and welcome. You have the opportunity to speak or pass. And then soon we'll open the table for everybody. Yes, hello.
Hi. Well, I don't have much to add. I totally agree with Azi and Rich on this. So, I do think medication should be with a time limit, and people should always try to take therapeutic way to get out of their misery. So that's that's the only thing I have to say about this.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I was right, Eddie. The left couch versus the right couch. Let's see if it continues.
Wait,
Alf.
let's see. We still have one more. Yes, Alf.
Alf M.
Hi, and welcome.
Hi, how are you today?
Going good. How you
Hi,
doing?
good, thanks.
Good. When I read the actual statement, if I am the head of the neuroscience department, it's my job to make sure this gets out there. It's my job that it was developed because I felt, or the company I work for felt there was a reason. Of course, there's always money. I mean, this is a prime reason that it was developed. I would think that probably in very extreme cases, it might be something good. But I, as an individual, probably would say no. So there's two sides, just like everything in life. There's always a second side or a second reason for doing something. So I think it probably would be released, not necessarily to the public, but at least to people that are in control and have good judgment of when and where to use it. But personally, I would stay away from stuff like that.
All right.
I live in a country that marijuana is legal, and I've never used it. Well, I won't say never, once or twice, but it's, even though it's available, I don't think stuff like that should be used unless you have a really good reason.
Yeah, and I think that's empathy at its finest, where you're not only thinking about yourself and your current situation. As the head of the neuroscience department, you're considering a mass amount of people. And I can see, around this table, many people have mentioned depression, but the other thing that I mentioned was anger. And why I put anger there is because if every person that had some form of anger or depression and they took this pill and it went away, the question is, what type of effect would it have on society? Would there be less crime? Would there be less anger at certain outside occasions or events or something like that? And will it have a better effect on society? But so that was my way of thinking, is to destroy the two upper end of the highs and the two upper ends of the lows, and to move it more towards the middle as to where we as a species are actually evolving more towards. So that was my way of thinking. Perfect. Thank you so much, Alf, and everybody can raise your hands as we open the table more. Ali, would you like to share your thoughts?
Yeah, I would. So jokingly, I started off with saying I'd like to keep it all to myself, right? Being quite emotional anyway. Well, I see things from both points of views. Generally, I'm not all for pills. I believe they fix one thing and ruin something else. And antidepressants have been known to cause problems in the long run as well. However, when there are cases that are extreme and they could balance the situation, I don't, maybe it would be a good thing in a sense. And on the other hand, like Aziz started off by saying, if I was the head of neuroscience, I mean, it would be my job, and that's what I would believe in, and that's why I would be creating it in the first place, to help people. So I would release it. I mean, it's not imposed on anybody. It's by choice for those that do feel the need to take it. However, like I said, I don't, on the personal level, I don't believe pills should work. It should be taken. And funny, he actually chose this topic tonight because my topic is similar on Monday, but it's in a different light. For awakened awareness. But I don't actually know what I would do. If I was the head of neuroscience, I guess I would release the pill. But if I was Ali, not the head of neuroscience, I wouldn't. I mean, I think there are other ways around it. And I see no harm in feeling emotions. I mean, that's what makes us human at the end of the day. And if we did suppress our emotions, what would we be at the end of the day? Robots? Zombies? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm all for feeling emotions up to a certain degree, as long as no harm is done. So yeah, and you, what would you do?
Well, I would.
The head of neuroscience.
Yeah, I would definitely release it to the public because I wouldn't only think of myself, but I would think of people who are in mass depressed states, people who have anger issues, and they really need this pill to bring their emotions and to balance their hormones, pheromones, to reach a state of content, but also in the state of an equilibrium where they can now start thinking better. Because people who are far too depressed, they start thinking of suicide, and they feel like they're closed up in this room, and no matter how much happiness and positivity there is out there, their brain is making them feel otherwise. And why I released this topic, I didn't know anything about the Awakened Awareness one, so spoiler alert. But why I launched this topic is because 18 years ago, my mind was in too much of upper highs and too much of low lows, where I was way overexcited, I was way depressed and sad, and there wasn't an equilibrium. And I guess as a kid, you do go through those waves. And then I introduced myself to hypnosis. Well, my dad introduced me to hypnosis, and then since then I was doing self-hypnosis where I would organize all of these overexcitements. And if you looked at my subconscious, it was very bright and very dark. And there wasn't an in-between. And so over the years, I would put all these folders or files and cases all together, organize them, throw away things that I couldn't work on things that I could work on. And 18 years later, I actually have what I believe achieved this permanent content stage where you will never see me angry, you'll never see me overexcited nor sad, yes, definitely, because there are things that instinctually you just cannot remove. A death of a loved one, a health of somebody, those are things that unfortunately you need to deal with, and the brain doesn't understand death and stuff. But overexcitement I haven't felt for the last 18 years, and I'm perfectly content with that. So I was curious to see what everybody else thinks, because as a species, I do think we are evolving towards this more content stage where we are depending less on our primitive emotional states. Because if you see people that go into over emotions, their logicality and their way of thinking kind of disappears, and their emotional states takes over, where they start acting on their feelings rather than what is currently happening with the situation. As the greatest Johnny Depp says, the problem is not the problem is how you're going about the problem. And so I do think we are evolving more into this content stage, which you can say is sad now, but if you don't know any better, how sad is it? Do you want to have over sadness? Do you want to have over emotions of joy and happiness? When you are at the highest high, there is only one place to go, and that is down. And when you're at the saddest level, there's only one place to go, and that's up. So that's actually been my way of thinking. So yeah, I would definitely give them the choice and options to take the pill, and I would release it to the public. Wow, that was personal, Ali. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go to Paul. Paul, hi.
Yes, a few. Can you hear me all right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, we can hear you.
A few quick points. As you say, with any pill or drug, it affects all over the body, no matter how supposedly selective it is. It affects your big toe, it affects your ear, it affects your private parts. So, yeah, it has side effects.
Kidneys.
Yes,
liver.
anything. Yeah, but, you take a pill for diabetes, and if you've got something wrong with your brain, what is the difference, really? But I saw a very interesting video, which I thought was extremely boring to begin with. It's all mathematical and technical, on deep brain stimulation, DBS, and it's worth investigating. There was all these mathematical formulas, and suddenly they switched this on, and the woman smiled. They switched it off, and she went like that. They switched it on, and she's smiling again. That was deep brain stimulation. So I think there will come a stage where this is implanted in the brain, and it switches itself on and off. So it would be an alternative to pills. Also, I was just watching something by Professor Jordan Peterson on motivation and depression, and he does a 1-hour lecture on this. So if anybody's interested, Professor Jordan Peterson, motivation, yeah. But those are the points. But there will be alternatives to pills, and it's not a good idea, because no matter how selective a pill is, as you say, it would have side effects. Also, with regard to anger, you do need anger. Unless everybody's going to take the Soma, as in 1984, you're going to be faced with malevolent people like Hitler, and you do need controlled anger. You're in a totally relaxed state facing someone like that, you're in trouble. I think that's all I've got to say.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Look, I believe in emotions as well, but the older one grows, I think the more wiser we become, and the more in control of our emotions we tend to have as well. I mean, a lot of us are going into meditation, like Derek.
Yes, I do that.
Yeah, like you guys said
also,
earlier.
the word here is
hypnosis.
overexcited. Yeah, over anything, that's not such a good idea. Over anxious, overexcited. It takes away the ability to feel. It doesn't say excited, it says overexcited, which suggests a negative, to be over anything.
Yeah.
Yes.
But okay, I think that's it.
Yeah, I think overexcited is
healthy...
abnormal. Hey, Ali.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as long if it's emotions at healthy levels, that's fine. But like Paul said, now when it's overexcited and feelings are overboard, then it can actually turn out to be quite destructive and unhealthy.
I think so. And then, like I said, there's only one place to go when you're abnormally excited, and that is down. And sometimes it leads to a big a drop, where that overexcitement can turn to over sadness. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Anyone else? We've opened the table now with regards to today's event. Halion.
Hey. Yeah, just a couple of points really. First of all, I think, you wouldn't have the option of releasing the pill to the public. You might have the option of releasing it with a long series of trials with lots of documentation and all that sort of thing as well. But the thing I was quite interested in, you said invented a new pill which manipulates thought patterns. Because I think, I'm going to, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of the current sort of pills, they'll try to manipulate, dopamine levels and various neurotransmitters and things like that. They're not directly manipulating thought patterns. I don't know if you thought of much about that when you wrote that, but that might be a slightly different thing to a conventional antidepressant or whatever. If you can actually manipulate thought patterns, because that would open up all sorts of things, wouldn't it, that you could do if you could actually create a pill to manipulate a thought pattern. It's not just suppressing
Emotions.
neurotransmitters and things, or doing the sort of broad things that the current pills do. So no, I'm just curious that you use those words actually, which because that could be a completely different and very, very dangerous. You could manipulate thought patterns to do all sorts of things, to go out and buy Microsoft stock or something like that. Imagine a pill which did that as a side effect. It made you have a sudden urge to go out and buy some other product of this company. I mean, you've got a whole new bag of worms there.
Definitely, and also, when I thought patterns, it's changing the certain electricity that goes on the brain, which changes the neuroplasticity and the cognate forms of thinking. And the thing is, when you start becoming emotional, there is a part of the brain that kicks in that is a lot more aggressive than, for example, the logical part. So if you can balance the neurosynapses electricity that goes within it, we might be able to become more at equilibrium with life, with emotions. And for me, I'm for that. But I think a lot of people harness and appreciate their over emotions from the evolution. But I think we are.
St. Justin, you raised your hand?
Yes, St. Justin.
Yeah, so one thing I wanted to add, you mentioned in there permanent.
Yes.
I'm a big believer in words and how they're used, and I agree with Alien or Halion over there.
Yeah.
Permanent, that's a pretty strong statement, to permanently adjust your mood in any way. So that's one part. Another part, and this is just me, I'm not projecting this to anyone else. I enjoy depression. I enjoy anger. I enjoy anxiety. I enjoy happiness. I enjoy elation. I enjoy feelings. I enjoy all the feelings. And to put myself in a state where I cannot feel something or, have that natural response, which is sometimes necessary to survive and also necessary to live. That kind of worries me, that why are we not trying to resolve the underlying issue, the actual psychological issue, and why are we trying to resort to a pill to resolve it instead of suppress it instead of dealing with the actual issue?
I just want to add something here. So, from ancient Greece, okay, they say when the mind is healthy, the body is healthy. When emotions are suppressed, they tend to reflect in the body as sickness. And a lot of people that are into Buddhism and meditation believe that as well. So I'm thinking, I mean, if you did have a magic pill that suppressed emotions, the emotion might get suppressed of you feeling it, but will the underlying emotion within the body actually get suppressed as well? I don't know if my question is making any sense right now. And will it reflect as a permanent state in the body? I mean, that's something to be aware of as well. And with meditation and hypnosis as well, I mean, when you're depressed and you have all these weird emotions, extreme emotions, let's say, you learn to be in control of them better. You learn to handle them and to control them in the long run. So
Well,
why take something that's going to land up damaging your body when there are alternatives that are much healthier in the long run?
Well, Ali, I
I don't know,
think
just a thought.
I think everybody's interpreting this poll in different ways, because you said the term suppress. I say the word to change the balance between um, I keep saying electricity, the neuroplasticity inside the brain. So, for example, if there is too much going on in the basal ganglia, which is a control of movements, habit, and emotions, and there is less being controlled inside, like the thalamus, which is, you know, consciousness, alertness, and the amygdala, which is the decision making and emotional response. This pull needs to somehow bring balance towards it, between balancing the amygdala, making the decision making, balancing it with the emotions, maybe even the hippocampus of being able for you to control your memories. And that's my idea, is that we need to think of the yin and yang. The yin and yang isn't just white and black. There's a little bit of black inside the white, and there's a little bit of white inside the black. And there is a balance between it. So when your brain is too emotional, and you've seen this with psychopaths, you see this with sociopaths, you see this with mass murderers, and they have this emotional survival side saying, I need to kill, I need to do that. And as you know, with the ancient Greeks, who started becoming more cognitive with their decisions, saying that, you know what, we don't need to be warriors anymore. We can work on our emotions and our adrenaline, and we will start Olympic Games. We will run. We will do high adrenaline activities without the need to kill. You know, that was one step closer to balancing.
Again, alternative.
Yeah, alternatives for balancing emotions. So I thought that was quite interesting, is that we've all interpreted as to how this pull will affect us. Anyone else? Paul, you wanted to mention something else? St. Justin?
The only thing I was going to add to that was I always like to think of things in a practical sense. So everyone go downstairs or go into your kitchen or go upstairs, wherever you're at. Take a frying pan outside and take it and bang it over your head. If you don't feel depressed, if you don't feel anger, if you don't feel
do it
anxious,
on somebody else's head instead.
then there's something wrong. Those emotions are sometimes good.
Well, you saw
that you should feel depressed, you should feel anger, you should feel anxious. Those can also be used to help us learn and also help us grow. If we don't use those to help us, become better. Don't stay in a state of depression, obviously. Don't stay in a state of anger, obviously. Don't ever stay in a state of anxiety. Those are unhealthy habits, but they're required. survive and to live and to grow.
Yeah. There are those anger rooms, I don't know if you've seen, where you can go into a room and choose what you want to beat up. You choose your weapon and you can knock a television set or a fridge or a car, and you just get your aggression out. I think that's quite brilliant because it does.
There's one problem in that.
What is the problem?
When you're angry, you need a certain amount of time to get from your house to that place. How many other more items have you smashed on the way there?
Oh, yes. Yeah, of course. Get the wife to drive you and put you in a cage.
Sorry.
Ah, that's a good one. I love that. All right, awesome. Aziz, I know you're in your line of psychology and stuff. What are your thoughts?
Oh, yeah, I think, well, Paul mentioned the majority of those things that I wanted to point out. Well, depression and like, as you said, words are important. Like, depression is not just like bad mood or like, I feel depression. We just use that word for, bad mood, but it's a clinical depression. It's a serious disorder. And when we talk about anger and anxiety, there is a normal, window of those emotions, but I think these pills are used mostly for people who are not in that normal anymore. They have, like, many people they have disorders. These are serious, like, really serious states, I guess, that should be, like, managed. And I think that these things have, like, many other systems of control. And I think that, like, psychiatry and all those systems, they basically are built over that just pseudo part to kind of regulate the system. So I'm still on my point. I would still release the drug, and they do exist. And I think this is like one of those things that if you don't want to suppress your emotions, just don't take the pill. As you said, like somebody mentioned before, many things are available in the world, but just people don't use it if they don't see that fit. But if it helps somebody who has these, like, disorders and these states, I think why not? You should have the choice. If I had a choice, I would maybe take them, because sometimes there's, like, the lesser, you just choose the lesser evil. If it's depression, I remember that I wouldn't, expect myself to, when people said I was so nervous I couldn't eat, I'm like, what? That would never happen to me. It happened to me, and it was like I couldn't, even expect myself to act in that way. And sometimes it's very scary when you can't control your life, and some things they just, like, they're ruining your life. So sometimes it's like as a temporarily help, like aid in your situation. Why not? It's always good to have more options. Just don't use them if you don't want them.
That's very true. It should be open to the public. And I've just thought of, like, 3 extra moral dilemmas. Prison. Prison. I've got some good ideas. Yeah, I think you know where I'm going with this. Ali. Perfect. Thank you so much. Anybody else wants to say something or add to the discussion?
So Paul left raising his hand as well.
Paul left. Yes.
I just wanted to reinforce what Aziz said. Depression is a mental disorder. It's a clinical disorder. When people say, "Oh, I'm feeling depressed," what they actually mean is they're feeling very low. They're feeling very sad. That's a normal. But when it's depression, it's an extreme thing that's persistent, and that's a mental disorder. That's basically what Aziz said. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Ali, you still there? Where's Ali? I see you there, but we can't hear you. All right. So we're going to, I don't see any more hands up. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, wait, we got someone here. Hogan. And he's gone. All right. Hogan, just, raise your hand. And we'll listen to what you have to say. 1 second. Megaphone is yours.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I came late. But yeah, reading the moral dilemma, it seems like definitely release it to the public. I mean, certainly if there was any sort of threat to the safety of the people, the individuals or people they're interacting with in society, no. But it seems like it's more of an issue with the lingering and depression, anger, and anxiety than to not treat it. So, yeah, that's it in a nutshell there.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Release it to the public.
Let's
Bet.
release
Can
it
you
to
guys
the
hear me
public.
now?
Yes, Ali, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry, I don't know what happened there.
Cool. Ali, last words.
My only concern is regarding the pill is when it's given to kids, keep them calm when they don't really have extreme emotions. I do know a kid that was raised on a pill to keep him calm, and it's actually affected his the way his brain developed in a sense. So
Yeah.
that's my only concern, because kids don't have the choice to say yes or no, because the mother or the father just gives it to them. That's my only concern.
Yeah.
But yes, otherwise, yeah.
One of those kids were me when my parents gave me Ritalin. But I was excited because I knew I was over hyperactive. And so when I took the pill, whether it worked or not, there was some form of placebo effect. I would take the pill and I'd be like, I'm so much more relaxed. Like, I would create it in my mind that I was so relaxed after I took the pill. And sometimes that's all you need, that catalyst, whether it works or not. If for some reason it's working, there's something inside your brain that is firing neurons that is helping the cause in some way. Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. That concludes the end of the moral dilemma. We will see you at Awakened Awareness on Monday. And in 2 weeks'
At 11
time,
o'clock?
we'll have, 11 o'clock. Well, all different times, but you can check on the board. And then we have the social dilemma in 2 weeks' time and Oh My Brain in 2 weeks' time. So we'll see you there. I'm going to give you your voices. You can continue this discussion. As for me, I'm out of here. Thank you, Ali.